Hello everyone, welcome to CETL ABES Ghaziabad. Myself, Mrs. Mansi Agrawal, Assistant Professor, Department of Information Technology. Today I'll be discussing one of the hacker rank problem, breaking the records. The problem statement says Maria plays college basketball and wants to go pro. Each season, she maintains a record of her play. She tabulates the number of times she breaks her season record for most points and least points in a game. Points scored in the first game establish her record for the season, and she begins counting from there. Given the scores of a season, determine the number of times Maria breaks her records for most and least points scored during the season. So the input format of this problem will contain two lines. The first line is an integer n that will denote the total number of games played by Maria, and the second line will have n space separated integers that will depict the scores that Maria has gained in individual games, right? The function that we have to implement on HackerRank is named as breaking records. There are various parameters in breaking records function that we will see when we will go to the platform, but the most important parameter is an array with the name scores, right? This scores array will have n elements, that is the total number of games that the Maria is supposed to play. The value which we need to return from the breaking record function is again an array, but this array will have only two values, right? So two elements will include the number of times she will be breaking her best record and the number of times she will be breaking her worst record. So at index 0, we will finally calculate the number of times she will break her most point record, that is her best record, and at index 1 we will store the number of times she will be breaking her worst record, right? The constraints for solving this problem are that the number of games will be in between 1 to 1000, that is the value of n will be from 1 to 1000, and the individual scores of each game will be from 0 to 10 raised to the power 8. Let us now try to understand this problem with the help of an example. So as you can see that in this example, the sample input contains two lines. The first line is only one number, that is an individual integer. This integer is depicting the total number of games that Maria is playing in that season. And the second line is the space separated integers that will tell us the individual scores that she has gotten these 9 games, right? So what we have to calculate? We have to calculate two values, that is the number of times she has broken her best record and the number of times she has broken her worst record. Now for this, basically what we have to do is, we have to take two variables. Suppose we have taken two variables with the name max and min. At particular point of time, maximum will have the maximum score that she have got in any of the game, and minimum will have the minimum score that she has got, right? And other than this, we will have one array, as we have discussed that we need to have an array of two elements, right? That will contain the total count, the number of times she will break her best record and the number of times she will break her worst record. So suppose the name of this array is A. So this at index 0, we will store the number of times she will break her best record, and at index 1, we will store the number of times she will break her worst record, right? So in the beginning, the values stored in this array will be 0, obviously, right? So let us start with the first game. Here, as we can see in this picture, in the first game, game 0, she has scored 10 score, right? So at this particular point of time, her minimum score and maximum score both are 10. And this is the point from where we have to start, right? So in the second game, she has scored 5. So at this point of time, she has broken her worst record, right? She has broken her worst record because she has gained number 5, which is less than the minimum value, right? So at this particular point of time, what we are going to do is the minimum score at this point will be 5, right? And this is the time when she has broken her worst record. So the count here will become 1, because this is the first time she has broken her minimum record. And we have earlier discussed that at index 0, we will store the number of count she will break her best record, and at index 1, we will store the number of times she will break her worst record, right? So that is why we have incremented this value. Let us now come on to the next score, that is 20. Now, as we can see that this 20 is greater than what she had scored maximally, okay? The highest score which she has scored, it was 10 at this particular point of time. But now as she has scored 20, so her maximum score has now become 20. So what will happen? At this particular point of time, her maximum score will now become 20, and this count will become 1, because now we have to increment the number of times she has broken her best record, right? Let us now come on to the next score. This is 20 again. Now, we can see over here that at this particular point of time, she has neither broken her best record and nor she has broken her worst record, right? So, neither A0 nor A1 will be incremented. The next score is 4. At this particular point of time, again, she has broken her minimum record, worst record. So, the minimum record at this point of time will become 4, and this count will be incremented to 2, right? If we move to the next point, next score, this is 5 again. So if you see that at this point, she is neither breaking her worst record nor she is breaking her best record. So quickly we will go to the next score, that is 2. Again here she has broken her first record, right? So for this, at this particular point, again, the minimum value will be changed and the count will also be changed, right? So this will become 2 over here. The minimum record will become 2 and this count will be 3. Now again, the next score is 25. By scoring 25, she has again broken her maximum record. So the new maximum record will become 25 and the count will become 2. So this will become 25 and the count will become 2. The last score is 1, and by scoring 1 again, she has broken her worst record, which was 2, and now it has become 1. So what will happen? The record will become 1 and the count will be 4, right? So as you can see at this particular point of time, the value of this array includes 2 and 4, that is the number of times she has broken her highest record and the number of times she has broken her worst record. And this is what we want to get as the output of the particular problem, right? Let us now try to understand this with another example. In this example, the number of games that she is playing is 10. These are the scores of the different matches, different games that she is playing. So at this particular point of time, the score is 3, right? So the minimum and maximum value both will be 3. As she scores 4, the maximum value will be changed to 4 and the value in the array will become 1, right? Now, when she scored 21, again, what will happen? The value of A0 will become 2, right? Then she scored 36, again, the value of A0 will become 3, right? I have not mentioned the min and max variables. I suppose that is clear to all of you. That must be clear to all of you, right? So this has become 3. Now she has scored 10 points. But at this particular point of time, she has neither broken her worst record nor her best record. Then she has got 28. Again, as the value of max is 36 and the value of min is 3. So she has not broken any record. Again, for 35, she has not broken any record. Similar is the case with 5 and 24. The last score is 42 at this particular point of time. Again, she has broken her best record, right? So this will again become 4, right? This ends our total number of games, and at this particular point of time, the number of times she has broken her best record is 4 and the number of times she has broken her worst record is 0. So the output is supposed to be 4 space 0, right? Quickly try to understand the already given implementation on the HackerRank platform. So it is clearly mentioned that we have to complete the breaking record function below. The function is expected to return an integer array. The function accepts integer array scores as parameter, right? This we have already discussed. To return the integer array from the function, you should store the size of the array to be returned in the result count variable. So the value of result count will be 2 because the number of elements which we are returning is 2, right? Allocate the array statically or dynamically. So we can simply make it static, right? So this is the function which we have to implement. Int star breaking records, int scores count, int star scores, int star result count. So I would like to just give a brief introduction about this header of the function. So it includes int star. This means that the value which breaking records will return, that will be an address, right? And we know that what will be that address? That will be the address of array A that will have 2 elements, scoring the total number of times the highest record has been broken and the number of times the lowest record has been broken, right? Then the 3 parameters include scores count, that is n, that is equivalent to n. Star scores is again the array which will store the individual scores of the different games, and result count This is also a pointer, but this will store the total number of elements that we have to return. That is supposed to be 2, right? So the number of variables that we have to take in this particular function will be I for the loop, max and min. Also, we have to take one static array. We can just simply take it as A, and the number of elements will be, right? So the first and the foremost thing which we have to do is we have to store value under result count B, right? Now the initial value of min and max variables, the first value which these two variables will get will be the score of the first game, that is scores 0. And from here we have to calculate new max and new min. And every time whenever we are getting new max and new min, we have to increment A0 or A1 respectively, right? So for this, we have to start I with 1 and we have to take it till I has to be less than scores count, that is n. In this loop, simply the first if will be if max is any point of time less than scores I, that means we have got a bigger value, right? At this particular point of time, max will become scores I, and this means that Maria has broken her highest record, right? So A0 has to be incremented once. Similarly, for the lowest record, if at any particular point of time the value of min is greater than scores I, then minimum will be scores I and A1, that is the number of times she has broken her least record, will be incremented by 1, right? So this is if, this is for, and this is the closing bracket of the function breaking records. Before this, we have to return an address, and that is supposed to be the address of the first element of array A, right? So this is the simple code. Just check it. Yes. And we can simply submit it to see that all the test cases have been passed, right? I hope I was able to make this problem a little easy. So this is the disclaimer. Thank you very much.